Hey guys, this is one of the Patreon only videos. We may wind up releasing these videos later to the broader YouTube audience, but at least initially and for the first few weeks or maybe even few months, it's going to be Patreon only content. Today I'm out at the range by myself. Jason will probably be out a little bit later today. But I wanted to bring out a rifle that I've not shown you guys. This is a K98 8mm World War II German sniper rifle. It has an interesting pedigree. This rifle I picked up at auction some time back, and I got it for an absolute steal. It's an all numbers matching what appears to be original sniper rifle. Even the serial number on the butt plate matches. The safety serial number matches receiver and the barrel. The bolt, everything has a matching serial number. That in and of itself makes it a very valuable rifle. But when it was laying out on the auction table, the front mount was broken. The front of the scope was just flopping around. And if you're familiar with loopholed mounts, where you put the scope in, twist the ring, and then lock it in the rear, that's very similar to how this scope arrangement is set up. Now, this rifle has a bit of an oddity going on here. So this could either be a early war production, a late war production, I really don't know. I would have to defer to Ian over at Forgotten Weapons, but I don't like calling him up every day saying, hey man, I got this weird thing I want you to identify for me. But it's really, really hard to identify this rifle. The numbers matching is a good sign. It's clearly not a reproduction mount or scope. But getting back to the auction story, so I saw the thing laying on the table and I'm thinking I think there were three German sniper rifles there. One of them was definitely a fake SS rifle. And that thing went for an astronomical amount. I feel sorry for the guy that bought it because it was clearly a fake. But this one had the scope mount flopping in the front. I took a look at it, wasn't familiar with the operation. You can't really take the guns apart when you're looking at them at these auction things. But I felt that it was probably repairable. So this was the only one I wanted to bid on. And nobody really bid on the gun. So I stole the thing. They thought it was broken and nobody wanted it. Well, Chase at Definitive Arms took a look at it when I finally got it for a song. And I said, hey man, please tell me you can do something with this. He took it apart, analyzed it. Turns out there was just this little U-shaped piece of spring steel in the front that had literally snapped. And once he fabricated from scratch a replacement steel piece, a spring steel piece, and put it in there, we were able to put the scope in, twist it, lock it in the rear, and voila, we had a working rifle. So there's one part I know for a fact isn't accurate or isn't period correct, and that's the little spring inside here that's holding the scope in its forward mount. But otherwise, it's an absolutely beautiful example, like an unissued example of a K98 sniper. The rings clearly aren't reproductions. Now you can go out onto the market and buy reproduction ZF39 scopes that look very similar to this. And this is clearly not that reproduction. This one has Carl Zeiss markings on it, has its serial number. Very clearly you can see a slight wear on the elevation dial here on the top, and it has the proper eye cup. It's all aged and everything. So this isn't a reproduction. Now, that's not to say that somebody post-war didn't find a commercial scope and use real military rings and put it on this rifle that may have been missing its original ZF39 scope. Why I say I don't think it's an original ZF39 is this one is incremented from 0 to 300 meters in elevation. The ZF39 would go higher than that, 800 or 1,000 if I'm correct, but I don't own a real ZF39, so I don't know. But this, to me, I think is probably a commercial scope, but that does not mean it is not original to the rifle, because the Germans were hastily pushing firearms into production, getting them out, trying to get them in the field, and you'll find K98 sniper rifles with a whole bunch of different scope mount scopes. I mean, there's examples I've seen online where a K98 actually has a PU sniper scope attached to it. You have side mount rails, you have ring mounts like this where it's a half semicircle ring that's actually on the objective side lens right underneath here, and it's a half semicircle here and it's brazed together. So there's a number of different mounts, a number of different scopes that were used by the Germans. So saying definitively that this is not an original would be very difficult. I'd have to send it to an expert like Ian at Forgotten Weapons to get his call, but I wanted it because it was in such good condition. It was repairable. I got it for a steal of a price. and it's a shooter, and obviously a collectible. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys this rifle today, do a little bit of shooting with it. The ammunition I have is some PPU match line. It's using a 200 grain bullet, and here you can see the stuff. I pick this stuff up usually off ammoseek.com when I'm looking for ammunition like this. I want to say after Chase fixed the gun up for me that we test fired it and zeroed it out at Jason's range, but I'm not quite sure. What's interesting, we'll find out here today, making adjustments, you'll notice that there's nothing really on the scope to make adjustments to the scope itself. You're able to make gross adjustments through the rear mount here in the rear of the scope by physically moving the rear of the scope left or right, and then you can make elevation adjustments up here with the turret. You also have the capability of seeing the iron sights through witness holes cut through the mount itself. You no longer have the capability of using stripper clips because the scope sits directly over the port of the rifle, but you do have all your iron sights intact and everything else. So to load it, you would manually load them one round at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and load the rifle up, and then we'll fire a few rounds here, and we'll see if this old girl is zeroed. And if not, I may have to struggle with it this afternoon, try to get this rifle zeroed, because it is a rifle I intend to shoot and have some fun with every once in a while. All right, 5 rounds loaded. I'm going to get all set up here and do a little bit of shooting with my K98 sniper. All right, guys, here we go. Let's put that first round in the chamber. Make sure the safety's off. And I'm going to shoot at the challenge target. It's white. You're probably not going to see it because it's kind of blown out down there. And I'm going to hold center of mass, and hopefully we'll get a center of mass hit. Ah, shucks, it's left, as luck would have it. But it did hit. We'll send one more. Oh, that was a little closer to center. Now, one thing I'm going to show you guys is another really unique feature that everybody I've shown this rifle to is absolutely amazed that I actually have an original example of. You may have caught it earlier in the video, but I'll talk about it here in a second. Yeah, for whatever reason, that first shot seemed left, but the others seem to be going right where I want them to go. Let's see if we can hit him in the head. A little low, but pretty darn close. Oh, and I missed that one. I'm going to go with the PPUs, probably not shooting optimally out of the rifle, but actually it's doing pretty darn good. I think it's the first time I fired this particular flavor of ammo. When I shot it the first time, it was just standard blue box PPU and not the match ammunition. Let's talk about this unique feature of the rifle. I think you guys will find interesting. So when I first saw the rifle laying on the table at the auction house, I was checking it out and I was fixated on that broken mount on the front of the scope, wondering whether or not it was something that could be readily fixed without having to actually replace the mount itself, which of course would destroy any collector's value whatsoever. But then I noticed something else. Look at the trigger guard on this rifle, right here. Do you know what that is? That's a winter trigger. This rifle was set up for the winter warfare of the Eastern Front. With heavy, thick gloves on, it may have been difficult to get your finger in the trigger guard of the K98. So what they've done, go ahead and make sure that the weapon is empty, is you have this little lever right here by my index finger. And when you go to shoot the rifle, you simply push up on that and the rifle fires. Now, how unique is that? It's very easy to take off. You just have 2 little clasps right there. You pinch them and push, and the 2 halves of the trigger unit will come off the rifle. But I leave it on there for historic purposes. It does have simple markings on it. It's hard to see without my reading glasses, but it says Mod 98, and you can kind of see that right there by my index finger. But everything on this rifle is in exquisite condition. So that winter trigger guard, when I've shown it to other K98 folks, they're like, wow, I can't believe you've gotten one of those. And I've seen pictures of them in the past, and typically they're all rusted up and in really rough shape. And this one's clearly in really, really good shape. Now, I'm not sure if it's possible that it's a reproduction. I've not been able to find one online, but then again, I haven't really looked all that hard. So to say that it's not a reproduction would be a fallacy. I mean, the possibility exists. When you're buying rifles like this, that possibility always exists. And with World War II collectibles, it happens more often than you think. You can actually get on eBay right now, and you'll find Waffenamps available that are made in China that you can buy and order. I've actually ordered Waffenamps just as a joke so I could Waffenamp a high-point pistol or something to show you just how easily it is to fake World War II rifles. And I have a rifle that's clearly a faked M95, which I've been meaning to make a video of for quite some time, and maybe I'll do it for you guys here on Patreon. All right, now let's try our luck at 250 yards using the winter trigger on this beautiful old example of a World War II German sniper rifle. You have to be really careful, guys, by not hitting this trigger. If you're carrying the rifle around, even with your finger off the trigger guard, it would be very easy to touch off a round with this winter trigger. It's very, very easy to hit that little nub, and it has a very light trigger pull. And because of its shape, it would be very difficult to get a trigger pull gauge on, but definitely something you want to be careful with. Let's hold a little bit high, so I don't want to mess with my elevation knob in the off chance that it makes it go left or right. You never know with these old girls. No love. Let's try just dead holding and maybe we'll get lucky. What is it set to? It is set to 100, so what the heck? Oh, I don't want to mess with it. Let's go ahead and just do a holdover, because it was pretty much good to go at 100, so it's got to be a little low, if anything. It's not going to be high. Heard something hit. She's favoring a little bit left, so let's do high right hold and see what we get. Yeah, I don't think we're hitting anything. I'm gonna have to more carefully zero this, but I probably won't continue using this PPU match. Yeah, no love. Oh well, we tried. So at 100, it's kind of sort of on. It looked like maybe you're shooting a little bit left. At 250, I can't make connection. Now, the scope, I believe, is a 4-power magnification. It uses a typical German style post. And at 250 yards, the post is considerably wider than the target itself. So when I'm doing holdovers, I'm completely obscuring the target. So I could be left or right off on my windage and not know it because it's hidden behind that very coarse post. But, you know, shooting at 100 yards is just as much fun. Let's try that. All right. Let's see if we're back on at 100 yards or not. The winter trigger, once you get used to it, it's actually kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, let's try the hostage taker. Let's see if I can have any luck on that. Kill the hostage taker here. Got him. I think it's just an elevation issue and getting that sorted out for 250. Nope, little left. Not much luck with this PPU today. Yes, this sucker has very brisk recoil. All right, got him on the one side. Let's see if I can hit him on the other. Wow. This is my challenge target. The first shot I fired, I'm aiming here, and it hit here, and that's when I said, oh, looks like it's shooting a little bit left. Continue to aim here, and you can see the group appear right around here. Now I took a couple of shots at the head. The first shot landed between the lag bolts. I took another shot holding, I thought it was shooting high or low, can't remember, I'd have to go back and look at the video, my old man brain. Anyway, so I took another shot at the head, thought I missed, but I very well may have just clipped it right here. And then we have another shot up here, which is probably me aiming down here and jacking with the turret on the scope, which I know better than to do unless I'm out purposely trying to zero my rifle. This isn't the ammunition I originally checked the scope mount with. Like I said earlier, it was the PPU blue box stuff, and I'm probably going to go back to shooting that because the match stuff is more expensive. I don't plan on keeping it on hand. My other 8mm guns, they're not really match rifles, so I'm going to go back later and reconfirm zero with just the standard blue box PPU. But anyway, so that gives you an idea. I'm definitely shooting a little bit high and left, which would account for me being off at 250 yards. I didn't quite figure out my hold. But I'm not going to sit there and waste ammunition that's really expensive because, yes, I had to buy it, lobbing rounds 250 yards downrange into the dirt. Me being me, I couldn't resist the temptation to try and zero it. I know. You just watched me go through the mental gymnastics I go through every time I shoot one of my classics. I promised myself I'm not going to mess with it. I promised myself I'm not going to shoot it. I continue to futz with it, and that's a German word for tinker, which I'm just kidding. I don't know where futz comes from. And I'll just keep doing it until I break something. And you know, if you watch the channel, my proclivity for breaking things. All right, so I tried to get it a little bit zeroed. I did so by using a flathead screwdriver, much like you would doing gross windage adjustments on a loophole scope mount. I did the same with this. I shifted the rear of the scope a little bit to the right, which should draw my point of aim a little bit to the right. And we'll see if I did good or not. Okay. So I'll be honest with you, I messed with the elevation dial. I don't think I should have. That definitely hit him in the neck, but left and right was good. Let me go the opposite way here on the elevation dial. Send one more. Hit him in the neck again, so the elevation dial doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot of anything, which is worrisome. Let's see. So going this way brings elevation up. Let's try going the other way. Oh, silly me. All right, I'm turning the wrong knob. The very, very top knob, as I forgot, is the focus. The ring is the elevation. I remembered that when I hit the release knob, and I'm like, ah. All right, let's see. I may get lucky here, guys. Tighten down this little locking knob on the top. Definitely came down. Still a little bit left though. Yeah, a little bit high. All right, let's see what we get this time. Dead center. All right. Much better. I'm leaving it alone now. All right. Says the guy that's going to go back to the blue box. but that was a dead center shot exactly where the tip of the post was. All right, so that's what's funny when you own a bunch of firearms like this. And by like this, I mean classic old firearms. I know just enough to be dangerous. I don't profess to be an expert on any one particular firearm. I own a lot of firearms out of curiosity and respect for history. I'm not a historian. I leave that up to folks like Forgotten Weapons and Ian, who is absolutely the most well-versed person in firearms history that I know, and I have great amount of respect for that guy. And yeah, so I make stupid mistakes like doing something I know is wrong, but don't figure it out until much later. I was wondering why the optic looked a little bit fuzzy while I'm messing with what I thought was the elevation turret, when I know, if I stop and think, that the very top is the focus and the little ring with the locker on it is the elevation. So there you go. I'm almost half tempted here to try my 250-yard shot with my one remaining round. What do you guys think? Think I'll be able to hit it? I don't know. This ammo's still shooting about a minute a man. Shucks, missed. Not ready to give up yet. I got it zeroed, dang it. Let's hold a little bit high. Okay, I quit. I'm just gonna be happy with a 100-yard zero with this ammunition. Guys, even though I intend this to be a Patreon-only video and I may release it publicly, I do appreciate your support. If you are watching this video and you're not a Patreon, we are viewer-supported, so we can bring you as honest content as possible. There is a link down below to join Patreon and become part of our Patreon family, where we post special content like this that's available to our Patreons only, including blog posts and stuff like that. Guys, thank you for your support to our Patreons and to our viewers that like and subscribe to our videos. And also, thank you for supporting Copper Custom. And thank you for sticking with us for 11 years that we've been doing this. All right, I'm gonna put her away before I break it. I mean it this time. Thanks for watching, guys.